Welcome to this special Today's Homeowner Podcast, brought to you by Wet Wall, a Wilson art company. Hey, I'm Danny Lipford, along with my daughter and co-host of my television show, Chelsea Lipford-Wolf.
Hey, everyone. How's it going?
I'm certainly looking forward to talking about bathrooms, and particularly the one that we just completed at Chelsea's Ranch Revival, the hall bathroom that's going to take care of those kids for many years to come. Now, Chelsea's Ranch Revival, if you're not familiar with it yet, you should be, and you should check it out at todayshomeowner.com/ranch revival. It is a revival of a ranch-style home that Chelsea and her husband bought about a year ago, and 65 years old there.
Is it that old? Wow. I guess so. It's what, 1 year older than you?
No.
We're not supposed to talk about that. Sorry, we got to edit that part out. Well, it was built the year before you were born. That's how I can remember.
That's right. Well, it was well built, just like I am. And but I'll tell you what, we took care of the exterior of the home, and it looks great. And then the next project was the hall bath, which makes a lot of sense. But we kind of want to talk through a little bit about what Chelsea went through and what you'll go through if you're about to remodel any bathroom in your house. And most of the time, just like a lot of projects, a lot of things that motivate a lot of projects, is you want a little more space. You found a perfect little spot there to add just a little bit of space without compromising anything.
Yeah, that's right. We had a little section of our hallway that was just sitting there unused, ready to be added into the bathroom. So we just had to move the small little wall that had the door out into the hallway a little bit more and gain that square footage in the bathroom, which is getting used way more in the bathroom than it was out in the hallway.
Yeah, it certainly makes a lot of sense. Anytime you can grab a little hallway area without creating any kind of awkwardness in the floor plan makes a lot of sense. We've done it many times in creating additional closets or just additional space just to make it, just to give you that little bit of space that you need. It also helped you with your linen closet. It helped with a lot of things, but I think you were a little surprised when all of that demolition took place, because we're talking about real ceramic on real mud bed on the walls, and we almost had to break out the jackhammer on that.
Yeah, the mess. I've seen, we've removed tile before in other people's houses, but the mess really, it's like it does something psychological to you. Whoa, there's this big mess in my house. Is this really worth the work and the effort and the mess to get a better bathroom? Which the answer is, of course, yes, but it's like in the moment, whoo.
Right when you're in the trenches there, particularly at that part of it, because we did have a window. Fortunately, we were able to funnel most of the debris out in 5-gallon buckets, many 5-gallon buckets, where we're chipping up all of the ceramic off the walls. We had a very large, well-built 65-year-old cast iron tub.
Yeah.
That you don't just pick it up and carry it out. You break it up in pieces, so a little.
It was a couple of buckets just to break up the tub.
Yeah, and when you're in there with a sledgehammer, you're seeing someone in there with a sledgehammer, that's like, whoa, wait a minute now, let's think about this. But that's the best way to get it out of there. And I think you're a little surprised to see what the floor looked like after we removed the ceramic on the floor, and you're basically seeing down through the floor into your garage.
Right, the subfloor. I guess some of the pieces of the subfloor got picked up with the mud bed of the ceramic tile and got thrown out, but it wasn't a solid subfloor. It was, it wasn't.
It was little pieces of wood, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, if you've never seen this before, back in the day, they used to drop down between, instead of putting plywood on there, because plywood was, I don't know if it wasn't available or was not readily available or whatever, but they used a lot of 1x6s and 1x8s. So basically, they just dropped down between the floor joist and just lowered the floor so that when you put your mud bed on, which was anywhere from an inch to 2.5 inches, that you didn't raise the floor up beyond what your adjacent floor is, which in this case is a beautiful hardwood floor. So I don't know why they would do that, but you're going 16 inches between the floor joist. So I guess they used up every bit of their scrap wood they had there and nailed those in, and then put felt on, and then poured the. What a long, thank goodness for plywood.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing someone asked me recently is how do you remove the tile, one, and then build it back up to put new tile on it? And it's, same thing with almost anything you build. You start with your final measurement and work your way backwards.
That's right.
So you want your tile to be even with the adjacent floor. So you subtract the thickness of your tile, and then you can subtract the thickness of the cement backer board. And then that determines how thick your plywood is that you put on top of your floor joist.
And it worked pretty well in this place because we were able to basically fill in those little blanks just
Right.
because it felt like we needed to. And then to put the 3/4-inch plywood on it and glue it and screw it down to the top of the floor joist. Then, let's see, did we use 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch?
I think 1/4 inch.
Yeah, 1/4 inch cement backer board, again, gluing and screwing it down. Then we had a nice, smooth, flat floor without any water damage, without any deflection at all, and we were able to move forward with that. So that's one of the things you really have to think about.
Is there a minimum for the thickness of the plywood?
Supposedly 3/4 of an inch. It does depend on that span. Now, in that particular case, because we had basically a solid mat across there, we probably could have gone with 1/2 inch plywood and it'd been just fine.
Well, we didn't need to. I was just curious for anyone else who was trying to squeeze every little 1/4 inch out of their subfloor system.
Right. And if you've seen the our episode that we did on this, or you can see it by going to todayshomeowner.com/local listings and be able to see exactly where you can see it. And also, it'll be out on all the streaming platforms very soon after it airs another time nationally. But you'll see some of these details on there. So once we had to do that first, of course, because you wanted to make sure that that subfloor extended up underneath the tub. I think that's very important that you think of that area under your tub as an enclosed area, even though we had to cut a little section out for the plumber to have access to the drain when he installed the tub. But for the most part, you want that nice and solid because that's your lower part of the envelope of your bathroom. You want it sealed off pretty good. So we accomplished that. Now, we could have done the plumbing ourselves, but we had our hands full doing other things. So we brought in a plumber to rough in the plumbing. And also a key part of that was one of the things to make the bathroom more functional for the children is to change from one sink to 2 sinks.
Yeah, so I was able to actually build a vanity myself, which you can see the video at checkinginwithchelsea.com, and it's 6 feet long. So there's plenty of countertop space and there's 2 sinks. Now, right now, we're a taller family. I'm 5'8", my husband's 6'1". So I built a pretty tall vanity. So right now our kids can't really use it without a stool. So they're still actually only using 1 sink, which is kind of funny to me. But there's that second one that you're able, I guess, an adult can use. And they're so young, they still need help with a lot of those things. But I know it's good for the future of our family to be able to have the 2 sinks when they get more independent and taller and older.
You just casually mentioned, and I just built a vanity. No, this vanity, you priced it somewhere. It was $3,000.
Yeah, the inspiration that I found, yeah.
But this is just not a simple cabinet. I mean, this is really, when you're talking about an inlay door system and drawer system and drawers, like that. Drawers complicate everything. It's a lot easier to build doors than it is drawers. But you put it all together, and then a really cool color. I guess I'm a little colorblind, but I guess it's kind of a mint color.
Yeah,
maybe?
there you go.
Oh, wow.
I would say that's a pretty good guess.
Yeah, good.
Little seafoam, mint, blue-green action going on. It's actually called recycled glass.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I thought it was fun since, we'll talk about the walls in a second, but since we weren't painting the walls, I thought I would paint the ceiling in the bathroom and ended up painting it the same color as the vanity.
Yeah,
so
that
those
worked
two
well.
items kind of work together.
So moving along on the project, we got all of the walls down. We got the subfloor looking good. We got the plumber doing all of his rough in. Also, you had a few changes on electrical to make sure. Now, one of the things here, now this is a great trick. I don't know if you've ever thought about this. You might be if you might be remodeling your bathroom and anguishing over, am I going to have one sconce? Am I going to have a center light fixture? What am I going to do? Well, you don't have to decide that right now. If if an electrician routinely does a lot of electrical work, what he'll do is he'll actually run a series of wires running about 5 foot off the ground and run it through a number of studs. That way, after everything's complete, he knows, and of course he takes his cell phone out, takes a picture of it, and then you know exactly where those wires are. And that way, if you decide to go with 1, 2, 3, or 16 of them, it doesn't matter. he can reach right in the wall, pull that out, and do that. That worked out very well because you changed your mind at the last minute.
Oh, yeah. I was planning on 3 sconces. You'd have a sconce, a mirror over the sink, 1 sconce in the middle, a mirror, and then the 3rd sconce on the other side of the other sink. Well, it ended up proportionally not looking right. The sconces were too small to fill the void between the mirrors, so I decided to go with 4 sconces. Quickly ordered a 4th one online, and but it didn't matter because the wire was running solid through the wall, so you just cut it and tie them all together.
And there it was.
Yeah, 4 sconces.
Yeah, that works out. That works out so much better.
But before I got to the sconces, we did the instead of painting the walls, like I mentioned, we installed a wall panel system that is completely waterproof, scratch and scuff resistant, which I have already loved for the few weeks that we've had it. It's Wet Wall, a Wilson Art company, and they're the same people that make laminate countertops.
Yeah, when I thought about this whole concept of this, and of course this is a pretty new concept, you think about all of the wear and tear and abuse that a countertop gets in your kitchen. So it only makes sense that it would work extremely well on your walls. It's built to resist all of the moisture, very easy. Of course, it's recommended that you do put this on a solid surface. So, since we had all of the plaster off of the walls, then of course you use that as an opportunity to use mineral wool insulation in all of the walls, even the interior ones, for soundproofing, and the exterior wall to make sure we had plenty of that, and then putting the drywall on. And then it was so easy with the wet wall. It cut real easy. The gluing, you glued everything up, so there was no nailing that was necessary or screwing it up there. And the sealant that they provided from Wilson Art worked fantastic. The tact, the holding, and all the durability really did work very well.
And then to set the picture, these are 8-foot panels, so they're 8 feet tall, just like a standard wall. But there's different patterns, and the pattern I picked out looks like a natural stone, so it has that stone flow on it, and it looks really cool. No matter which direction you install it, it's all going to flow together. And they have the tongue and groove, so you can really lock in one panel into the panel next to it, so you get that waterproof system that you need in a bathroom.
So we're talking about using this on the walls, talking about using it on the shower wall, and it may be a situation that you don't want to use it on the walls for whatever reason, and you just only want to use that for your shower walls. Works great for that too. They have finished edges on it. Really was impressed by that. And then you came back with the sealant that they also provide, and then sealed around where it butts down to the tub. Very important that you leave a little gap there so that you can inject that caulk all the way around. And you did a good job, by the way, in caulking it, making it seal up real well. But what a perfect wall surface when you think about the kids' bathroom and all of the abuse they may be throwing at it.
Oh, yeah, you definitely want it to be waterproof because they're going to splash no matter how big the bathroom is. They're going to get it all over the bathroom. And then being scratch resistant, just them throwing open doors and, I don't know what they do, throwing little toy cars on the walls. You can use your imagination how beneficial having scratch resistant walls will be.
Now, one thing that you did, which I think was very, very smart, is being very careful with removing the molding that we removed. Even though you used a different baseboard, you still have a lot of remodeling to do on this house, and to be able to have some of the old baseboard that we can't find anymore. It's just a different style.
Yeah.
And to be able to use that in as many areas. Well, we actually were able to use that out in the hallway where you extended the wall out a little bit, and were able to use that. I thought that worked out very, very well. Another great tip when you're ready to tear into that bathroom, take a little time, save that molding, because that molding's better than you can get today, and it's also most likely very unique to any time.
I was going to say, the reason I wanted to keep it was because it was different, and it was kind of cute. It was cute molding,
Sure.
I mean, you have feelings about moldings too. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it just had a lot more curves, and it was so different and neat. I don't want to replace it with something all new. So we're very careful to keep it. I have the leftover pieces saved for any other places where we need it in the rest of the house.
And the finishing touches, the penny tile. Tell everybody about the really unique penny tile that you installed.
Yeah, well, we since our house was built in the 50s, I wanted something kind of maybe not historically accurate, but just something different. I didn't want the modern large format tiles. I love the basket weave tiles that a lot of people use. So just looking for something a little different in respect of the age of the house. And so I've stumbled upon penny tiles, and now I'm an absolute, I'm the president of the fan club of penny tiles because it was so easy to install. It was, I didn't have to cut a single piece of tile. I didn't have to leave the room to cut on a wet saw for the entire bathroom.
Yeah, that's,
and I thought
pretty
that
amazing
was so
to be
cool.
able to install a ceramic floor using scissors.
Yeah.
It's just really...
That's all you
because
needed.
it was on a mesh, so you were able to cut it out, and the tiles were small enough that, if you had a tiny gap here and there, your molding is going to cover it and that kind of thing. So, yeah, it turned out very, very well, and the grouting and all of that worked pretty well.
Yeah, and I have a few pieces of tile left over, so who knows what I'll use them for.
There you go. Well, you need to go check this out, and we really appreciate you spending some time with us today. And remember, it's todayshomeowner.com Ranch Revival. There will be more episodes that we'll be taping there at Chelsea's house. And you can also see kind of a different look at the work being done there by going to checkinginwithchelsea.com. Hey, thanks so much for being with me, Danny Lipford, and Chelsea Lipford Wolf on this special Today's Homeowner podcast.